Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition. It's PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. I hope everyone here in the Florida Gulf Coast area is safe. Just tons of rain, flooding, what have you, to go on probably all day today and a little bit tomorrow. And then it's headed up to Georgia and North Carolina, South Carolina. So be safe, folks. We had some people here ask about, will this storm affect any graduation this week? I didn't even know there was a graduation at UF this weekend. And then Conyer Ron says, wet ball and wind practice today. Negative, Ron. They will be indoors practicing ball today. We'll have JC here in a minute. Then we'll have Scott Carter. Let's go to the Titan Tomorrow hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. JC, good morning. How are you? JC, are you there?
Here
JC
I am.
must have computer issues.
No,
okay.
I'm
We can hear you now.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. No, I mean, I'm just glad that. I'm glad that I think we're a little bit to the west. Looks like a big rain event. Looks like the people in Georgia and South Carolina, South Georgia, South Carolina, are going to have a little bit more issues to deal with when it comes to flooding because of how slow this storm is going to move. It's going to move very slow, and I'm, not trying to be flip about it, but I hope the other hurricanes that rolled through here in late August are slow as well. But a slow storm is bad for all of the rain that's going to fall in South Georgia, South Carolina, Charleston area is going to be really bad, but flooding wise. But I think we've been spared here in Gainesville. For the most part, I have a tree out in the yard, out in the street. Okay, so I don't know if I'll be able to get to work, which is bad because the stock market is crashing as we know it. Everything's welcome back to Gainesville.
There you go. Just as long as the tree falls in the road, not on your back screen porch.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about today. We'll get to the Montreal Johnson injury in a second. We'll talk to Scott Carter. But first of all,
Montreal.
I got to ask JC, don't you have the what's the app you bet on? Hard Rock?
Well, everybody in Florida is able to use the Hard Rock.
Okay, well, that's what I asked. Okay. My question to you is, did you bet on Scotty Scheffler, Tommy Fleetwood, or Ledecky Matsuyama?
Well, that is so funny that you asked because there it is right there.
Well, we can't see that. It's very blurry.
Scotty Scheffler, but I took him when he was 4 strokes back, which gave me 11-1 odds. So that's called a live bet.
Well, if people want on the Peachland Dental picks, JC picks Scotty Scheffler, Tommy Fleetwood, Ledecky Matsuyama, and Sepp Straka.
I mean, once again, all we do is win here on the golf picks. I mean, just go through the record. It's incredible how good we are at picking winners on golf. I hope we are able to do that with football season.
Yeah. Yeah, so the golf yesterday, because it poured down rain, ruined my golf. I watched it all. Man, let me tell you something.
Incredible.
The beauty about that Olympic sport is those are clearly the best players in the world.
Oh yeah,
and they made that damn golf course look like a joke yesterday. It was ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Well, I don't think they knew what they were doing in France, setting up a golf course for the best players in the world. Maybe they did.
That's held multiple Ryder Cups.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
It's one of the premier golf courses over there.
Multiple Ryder Cups?
Well, at least one Ryder Cup. I mean, I don't know how many, but anyway, also in track, swimming, congratulations to all the Gator athletes. Bobby Fink, I saw him swim yesterday. That was unbelievable. He broke a world record. And then Anthony Nesti's emotional, crying afterwards. I mean, it was crazy. I guess the biggest upset that's come out of the Olympics that I'm aware of is for the first time in the history of the Olympics, the men's medley, 4x whatever medley. I don't even know. I don't know the terminology. They lost to the Chinese. First time ever, JC.
Wow.
We've never won that.
I saw quite a race for the men's 100 meters. That was decided by, between the Jamaican runner and Lyles, our guy. And I thought that was exciting. I just haven't watched as much as I would want to have watched in the Olympics, but
well, it's been some like the 4x100.
Yeah.
Was it? No, maybe the 4x400.
4x400?
Mixed. Everybody runs one lap.
Okay.
That would be 400 meters.
Right.
The mixed, where they go female, male, female, male. In the semifinals, the U.S. breaks a world record. Well, the U.S. lost in the finals. Because this chick from the Netherlands
just
came from about 15 meters back on the last turn and just hit the button and just blew past everybody. It was unbelievable. So it's been pretty cool. Obviously I like the swimming and the swimming, the golf, and the track and field make the Olympics. And
tennis was good too, QB, but I know you're trying to stay with the college sports.
Tennis is a college sport. Well, but it wasn't that great. I watched it.
The tennis is just the pros playing, basically.
Yeah.
Djokovic and Alcaraz had another good match on clay, of course, at Roland Garros, and Djokovic won. So, he kind of avenges his Wimbledon loss to Alcaraz the last 2 years. But the gold medal was the only thing he hasn't gotten in his career, and he is the greatest tennis player to ever play the game. And it's funny that the gold medal was, he said this gold medal was the greatest thing he's done, which is hard to believe, but that's what he said.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler's reaction on the podium yesterday was outstanding. If you hadn't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, Scheffler, Schauffele, these guys have dominated the golf scene this year. It's just the two mans. It's about two guys, and it's great to see an American win the gold. I was happy to see that. Ledecky, he also medaled, right? QB, did you say that? Didn't he get the bronze? Yeah. Japanese player.
And John Rahm just fell apart. Him and Xander fell apart too. Tyler says, I thought all the right-wing boomers like Shane and JC are boycotting the Olympics. I'm not boycotting the athletes. All the nonsense, Tyler, from the idiots that run the Olympics, I could give two craps about them. So there you have it.
Well, are we boomers? I guess I am. I'm a 64. You're not a boomer.
No, so, I don't even know where that categorizes. I don't really care. I just know. I just like results. That's all I care about are results. All right.
Well, I didn't boycott anything. I just called it out for being the most asinine opening ceremony skit that I've ever seen in my life.
It was freaking stupid.
And not only stupid, it was disrespectful.
Brian says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, Gainesville native Noah Lyles wins the gold. Yep, he was born here.
Yep, Lyles.
Sign with the Gators to come run track with pro instead.
Yep.
Brandon says that UF would be 12th in the Olympics if we were a country in medals, all our athletes.
Well, so we don't have the lead in the medal count?
JC, do you understand what I just said?
If
the University of Florida was a country.
Oh, okay. Sorry. University
we would be in 12th.
I see. Okay.
We would be in 12th. So,
yeah.
Tyler says I act like a boomer. I don't even know what. Can somebody give me the definition of what a boomer acts like?
Well, just tell Tyler that without the boomers, he probably wouldn't be living in a house right now. So
there you go.
I'll go with that. All right. Good. Yeah, the storm, my house held up good. I'm pretty happy with all that rain falling. The golf course is underwater, but that's okay. It always is.
Kanye Ron says on YouTube, brought to you by Quiet Plumbing, would Lyles have been a Gator if he could have gotten an NIL deal? Maybe. You know what's interesting, JC? If you win a gold medal in the Olympics in track and field, you get an extra $50,000 bonus.
Wow. So, okay. So I guess it's not pure amateurism, is it? I mean, no.
Well, how can it be amateurism when you have Scotty Scheffler and
it's never been, I wasn't being serious. Jesus.
Oh, okay. Silverback concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. We'll have Scott Carter. All right. So Montrell Johnson went through a little procedure. We'll talk with Scott Carter more about it. Had his knee scoped. I'm going to say this. I don't know how severe it was. If he just had his meniscus cleaned up, I tore my meniscus the third play of the Florida State game in 1991. Played the entire game somehow, got it scoped the next day, and played in the Sugar Bowl. Now, that was about 3.5, 4 weeks. Yeah, even though I didn't do any rehab, I didn't do anything. Today's modern technology is totally different. The difference, too, is he's a running back, so he has to cut. So we'll find out. But I think he will play against Miami.
Oh, yeah, I'm betting on that, too. I see the headline on Google, and it says major injury. I read it. It's not major. It's just an injury. But it's major injury to me says he's out for the season. That's a major injury. But that's not the case. And they don't need anything like that to happen. They need what they need is depth. They need people to be healthy. So,
JC, I got another question for you here, whether you know the answer or not. I had a guy I follow on Twitter. I don't somehow follow him, but he said that he was rooting for Tom Kim to win a medal. And I don't know if it had to be a gold medal. That way he doesn't have to serve his 2 years over there for his country. They still do that over there?
South Korea is still technically at war with North Korea because nothing was signed, and North Korea and the Kim Jong-un, who is the dictator, basically is still considered at war with South Korea, if you can believe that.
What the hell's that got to do with Tom Kim?
Well, South Korea, right?
I know he's a South Korean.
All right, so he
has to serve for 2 years, but he just turned what, 21? So somebody that knows this, I shouldn't have brought it up since we don't have all the information, but I just think it's interesting. You're trying to tell me that not Minwoo Lee, but all those other dudes served in their army?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Siwoo Kim did. I don't know. I mean, he's older, and so I think he did. I think they have to somehow do something, but I don't know what kind of exemptions are available over there in Korea. But I do know that Seoul, South Korea is within an hour's drive of the demilitarized zone. That country is in a constant state of emergency, it would seem, because
no, I get that, but I mean, I don't look at Tom Kim thinking he's going to be able to protect my country.
Yeah,
let him go play golf.
Well, this is just, I mean, all able-bodied men in a small country like that. But we have bigger problems also in Israel right now. So, I mean, as much as we love, and I do love this escape of talking on a podcast and having subject matter that we really enjoyed talking about. But right now, there are some really, really, I should just say, tenuous things going on in the world right now. Not to mention what's going to happen to all our 401k accounts today. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Let's see. Everybody's talking about our 3-on-3 basketball on Olympic team. They're saying we can't find 3 better players. Obviously, Kenyon Berry was on that team. They're saying somebody here said the three of the guys that don't make the regular USA team go play 3-on-3.
There you go, 3-on-3.
I didn't watch any of that, by the way. I forgot we even do that. Let's get a couple of these texts on the Titan MR text line.
All right.
This is Daryl says, home from work on standby. If called in, I will give my all for Clay. Well, good. That's good, Daryl. Josh in Mississippi says, hope you had a great weekend. Lots of Gators getting medals. Football season around the corner. Can't wait. Yeah, we're 29 days away.
No doubt. I heard from a great listener of ours who was up in Pittsburgh over the weekend, and this guy brings the Iron City Light beer that I love to the tailgate. His name is Brett Major, and I'm going to show you Brett's picture. This Brett Major fella, who's at the Pirates game, is a big Gator fan, huge, and they have the massive tailgate that you and I have both attended called the Harmonic Woods Group down there on Lake Alice, and I am thrilled about getting ready to go visit with those guys prior to the Florida game against Miami on 31st. And so, Brett, I'm giving you a shout out. Thank you for bringing all the Iron City light that you're going to bring, and I can't wait to get it going with you guys on the 31st or either on the 18th. I'm not going to go to the Stanford game, but the game against Texas A&M, which I think is the 15th, and the Miami game. Yep.
So David says on YouTube, since this whatever this boomer is, he gives me the dates, the years from 1946 to 1964.
Yeah, see, the young kids hate the boomers because boomers own houses, and the youngsters that they can't. They'd rather go travel. So,
but I'm not a boomer. I'm not a boomer.
Well, no, I am though. 64 is the last year, so I'm proud of it too. By God, here's to the boomers. Here's to
Tony
the boomers.
says we can have a meet and greet with JC at the tailgate.
Oh, well, I can't wait for
that. Text on the Type More text line. With all the NIL money, are the players counseled other tax implications? Yes, they
should
are.
Be counseled a lot of financial. That's why
See,
I said I offered it 2 months ago. Cornerstone Financial Group, Johnny.
They have
saved you from your Rolls Royce.
Every program in America has the folks talking to them about taxes, has them talking about you name it, they do it. Now they didn't have that stuff back when we played because we didn't have all this nonsense going on.
It's money. It's called money.
They have all of that. Trust me. They have it all.
Well, one thing I don't know if they've been advised on is spending it on cars like Lamborghinis and things of that nature. But other than that, I'm sure there is some counsel going on. At least there should be.
31 M. Burr on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Palm, says Sunjay M. and Siwoo Kim won gold medals in the Asian games, and they are exempt.
There you go. Good research.
Tom needs to go play in the Asian games. I like his chances.
Well, I mean, whatever it takes, right? I mean, so there you go. But 2-year service requirement. How about that? Try living through that. How many of these 18-year-olds would we have? I
wonder what my man Paul Tesori is going to do because he's his caddy. I thought it was funny. I'm watching Paul Tesori, who played golf at Florida, been a caddy for years for VJ Singh, Cameron Young, Webb Simpson. He's been caddying for 30 years. It just was funny watching it. He had a Korea hat on.
Good for him. I mean, South Korea is a big ally of our country.
Well, he has to wear their damn hat because his
boss,
his boss is wearing it. But I just thought that was funny. I texted him. I said,
I love that.
You look funny in that Korean hat there, my friend. Let's get to this day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Yankees. This day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 1936, American athlete Jesse Owens wins the 200-meter and a world record time of 20.7 seconds. His third gold medal of the Berlin Olympics. The 200-meter, I think, is going to be run today. Noah Lyles is trying to be the first person, I think, since Carl Lewis to win the 100 and the 200 for the Americans in the gold. I could be wrong with that, but I could have sworn I heard that last night. So,
all right.
Anyway, give me your Yankee update.
We have another week of this QB Olympics. What do we got? I don't even know.
I think it ends Saturday or Sunday, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so another full week of this. That's good. Well, it's not. It's like you say. It's just baseball, and that doesn't get much attention here. But the pennant races are very interesting to me, and the wild cards are really, really tight. So I'm into it. I think it's fun to watch. I've got the Major League Baseball package. I love watching these games as we get through August into September, and then football season starts. Hopefully, the weather like this will not impact any of our games. We don't want 10 inches of rain or anything like that. Obviously, we want hot weather that's not rainy. That's what
if we get 10 inches of rain, the game will be canceled.
Absolutely. I don't want any of that. And, we have issues with that, here in the flatlands. But, we've had hurricanes have always affected Florida football in some form or fashion throughout the years, but not every year, hoping that this is one of those not affecting us. Because we've been, football season QB, it's going to last 4 months. And that's a longer season because of the playoffs that we're going to experience in December. But the off season is very, very long. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it. I mean, it's 8-9 months of off season, and some schools say, there's never an off season with our college football program, but there's no games, so that's how I look at it. But don't you think it's a long? It is a long time, and it goes by very fast. But this year we're going to have an extra month of college football because of the month of December. I'm very excited about that. And since you brought up the Hard Rock, and since we would love them to advertise on our show, I'm just going to give you a quick 1-minute tutorial on the Florida State Georgia Tech game. So if you take the Florida State Georgia Tech game here on the Hard Rock, you are having to make two types of bets: a spread bet and a money line bet. And then there's also something called the total. Total is number of points in the game by both teams. You pick over or under, and there are odds associated with what they feel is the more probability or the higher opportunity to happen. Winner on money line is just who wins the game. But with that, you have to pick odds. So with Florida State, if you picked them to win the game, you would have to lay something called minus 500 or $5 to win just $1. If you took Georgia Tech to win the game, it's plus 400. That means you could bet $1 to win $4 because of the favorite status of Florida State. If you do a spread, it's by points. So Florida State is minus 12.5 and Georgia Tech is plus 12.5. If you take Georgia Tech and they lose by inside of 12.5 points, you win the bet, and vice versa for Florida State. If you take Florida State minus 12.5 points and they only win by 10, you lose the bet. They have to win by more than 12.5. So what do you think is going to happen, QB? I guess we'll talk about this in 2 weeks, but it's coming up. I mean, it's August 24th. God. I mean, what are we at? August the 6th right now? So 18 days, 5th. It's the 5th. So 19 days until this thing kicks off with those two schools. And I think that's going to be an entertaining game to watch. A lot of points.
I think it's going to be a very good game. Tony asked here, he on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, talking about the Western Am with Ian Gilligan and Jack Turner. Both played in the final, both Gators, current Gators. I missed that. I know JC was out there watching them, not JC Deacon. We also had the kid that's coming from Nebraska, one of the top golfers in America, win the, what was it? Some kind of another amateur tournament. But he's a 2026 kid, top player in America. So JC Deacon's doing a tremendous job.
He is.
Golf team's going to be very good next year.
Oh, I have no doubt. No doubt about it. I mean, they lost some players, had a good season this year too. I mean, they qualified to compete for it. So, that was a success coming off that national title. So I'm with you. I think they're going to compete for it next year too.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's get a couple of these texts on the Titan MR text
line.
Let's
I should look at that. I should look at these.
Well, you can't look at the Titan MR text line, Jason.
No, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
This is from Jimmy. He wants to know my concerns with Montrell Johnson. I have no concerns. I think he plays against Miami. If they went in there, scoped him, rehab, he'll be back running in 2 days. They'll take him slow through his rehab. Some people here worried about, he's the only running back we have that can pick up a blitz, blah, blah, blah. That is true. I think Trayon Webb has an opportunity to be the number 2 guy, but then you got Jaden Ball and Katie Daniels, the young kids that will get a lot of playing time as well.
I was listening to some national sports shows, QB, and Florida is getting just no respect at all. I just think it's great because the expectation level is so low, except with the guys in that locker room. And I think that's going to work to Florida's advantage. I really, really do. I've never seen a year where a team like this is going into the season with a win-loss total that is laid by the experts who nailed it last year at 4.5 games. I talked about this at the wedding I was at. I said, 4.5. I mean, honest to God, you really don't think that team can win more than 4.5 games is what they're saying. I just can't believe how low the expectation level is. It's just
I don't like I told you, if they win those 2 games against Missouri, they had won, and the Arkansas game they had won. They're 7-5. The narrative is different around the country. Trust me.
Well, there's 2 they could have won, and there's 1 they could have lost. So I say,
well, every team in America could. I mean, just like Alabama could have lost the Auburn game.
Auburn game, yes.
You can go through all 12 games and say this, and that,
but yeah.
So anyway, I don't give a damn what happened last year. I don't care what the national media.
I don't either.
I think the team's going to be pretty good. I really do.
But I mean, don't you think?
What?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just found it fascinatingly
JC,
naive.
it's because you're coming off a losing year and you have the so-called hardest schedule in the history of college football. That's the reason.
Yeah.
But I don't know how good those teams are going to be this year because they're not the same teams they were last year. I think people forget that.
No, that's right. Everybody's got newness, let's say.
Yeah.
But it's incredible.
Kevin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, say a prayer for the local the United States Postal Service mail carriers. They have us out here delivering in this SHIT.
Hey, what's the saying? In all sorts of weather, through rain, through snow, the mail must go. Listen, I do appreciate what they do, and man, it's the worst in other places, though. I'll just say that. And hey, I got the power on. You've got the power running. We have had no power issues. I'm counting blessings right now. I feel lucky. Here's Texas A&M. Look at this, 8.5. The Aggies 8.5 with a quarterback that was injured all year last year. Think about that, Coach. 8.5 wins for Texas A&M. When was the last time they did that? Other than that 1 year for Jimbo. I mean, 8.5.
Andy says the over/under on Lagway TDs versus Miami is 0.5. Is that a gimme?
No.
I don't even know if he'll play.
Right. How do you know he'll even be in the game? You're saying he is either going to throw or run for one. Is that right, QB?
Well, that's how else. I mean, he may catch one. It just says a touchdown.
Responsible for a touchdown, not necessarily scoring one. I don't know if that bet means scoring one or being a part of one. So, because if you throw one and Trey Wilson catches it, you didn't score. So I'm not sure what that is. If it's score one or a part of being one. You could also say the offensive linemen were part of that touchdown too, for protecting Graham Mertz on that touchdown pass he threw, or DJ Lagway on that run he made on quarterback draw. Whatever it is, zone blocking. I don't know. I mean, I think it means scoring it, physically scoring it. And I would say the only way that happens, QB, if it's first and goal or one, and they bring him in on a Tebow package of some sort, and he runs around, and gets in there. But I did see a comment that Billy Napier made about him, quote, getting better. What is that based off of? Getting better off of what, QB? What does that mean?
Who getting better?
Ask Scott what it means. That's what
I'm
Billy
asking
said.
him. Ask him who get better.
DJ Lagway. That's who we're talking about.
Well, every coach is going to say that about every player.
That they're getting
like
better?
I said, I don't care who you are. If a coach doesn't have confidence in putting you in the game, you can't put that, especially at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
I'm not sold yet he's going to play a lot. I mean,
Okay.
if I go watch some practices, that may tell me a little bit more. But look, the whole thing about we need to put him in there to get him some playing time. I disagree with that 1,000%. I disagree with that at every position, not just quarterback. You don't just give away plays just to give somebody some experience.
Well, what about in the game against Samford when you're up?
Well, that's different, Jason. I'm talking about a real game that's like competitive, close.
Yeah.
We're trying to win the damn game. We're not trying to get people ready for next year.
Yeah.
That's my point.
I mean, maybe
John says,
I don't know.
Well, see, the whole package thing has always bothered me too, because JC, we could call up somebody that knows nothing about football and say, okay, they're going to put a package together for this player. What do you think they're going to do?
Run.
It's going to be run game, RPO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, Greg McElroy and Cole Kubalik are saying don't sleep on Florida, so it's not everyone.
I've heard that too. See, I've heard it from the other side of the coin as well. I've heard that there's a sneaky potential season here, in spite of the schedule. So I've heard both sides. We'll just have to see. Nobody knows.
John says on Facebook Live, Napier said on Saturday that he feels really good about the front seven if they play about his feeling. Like Shane says, we just need to be average. Also having Asa Turner back there is making the corners more comfortable. Well, yeah. I mean, look, you have two NFL corners. Nobody will change my mind about that. I don't care how many passes they've given up. Playing DB has a lot to do with your front seven. And we have to affect the other quarterback. Joseph says, guys, at this point, Mertz at QB is like going to prom with your sister. No one is really excited about it, but it's your only option, so you might as well. But he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
See that right there. I don't understand people. I'm telling you right now, if a guy wearing a visor was your head coach and Graham Mertz was your quarterback, you'd be damn excited about it. Well, I don't get it.
I talked about this.
I don't get it.
Last
people
week.
today rather the quarterback drop back and run for 22 yards and get out of bounds and not complete any passes. That's the way people look at it. They'd rather the quarterback wear number 32 and line up at tailback.
Well, it just
I don't understand.
Well, that's what I said last week. When you scored 32 points with this group, and when you guys scored 32 points in the 90s, people felt better about it for whatever reason. Maybe it's because you guys are always winning, but there's a different feeling about how the offense functions, and that's what I'm.
Yeah, but I mean that's 30-something years ago. People got to let that go.
Dude, they're never going to let it go.
Hall of Fame coach ain't calling the plays.
Yeah, I hear you. And
there's only about 3 Hall of Fame coaches coaching in football right now.
Right, Urban Meyer didn't have that offense that you guys had.
No, it was terrible.
And it worked though. So it
worked
because you had track stars running around all over the place. You had a quarterback that ran over people. And you had Percy Harvin. That's basically what happened. You had Percy Harvin. It was Percy Harvin made them all better. Everybody, especially number 1-5. But he played some just epic games. The blood game against Florida State was one of the most amazing of any Florida player performance.
Joseph says the QB has to throw it past 7 yards and complete it. Again, Joseph, you must like Joe Milton. Go root for the Patriots. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't get it. Do not.
You don't get it, QB.
I don't understand it.
You don't understand it. Well, I don't understand why some guy thinks boomers are bad. Anyhow,
where is Scott Carter at? He's calling in. All right, JC, you're kicked to the curb. Have a good day.
Okay. Oh, did you do your poll, by the way? Am I still allowed? I guess I am.
What was the poll?
You were going to poll because of my tardiness last Friday, but that's okay. Apparently, you didn't do it.
We'll run that poll sometime.
Don't worry about it.
All right, that's JC. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll be joined by Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bill.
Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Our Gridiron sponsors, Sutter Pro Painters, Comfort Temp,
Florida Victorious,
UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, F45. Our touchdown sponsors are Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Nest and Wild.
If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We're going to go to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, joined by Florida Gators senior writer Scott Carter. Good morning, Scott. How you doing, bud?
Hey, good morning, Shane. Just probably like you, man, trying to stay dry this morning. Kind of
right.
Windy and rainy up here. A true Gator edition.
No doubt. Conyer Ron says on YouTube, Shane, do you have an indoor range set up for rainy days? Conyer Ron, as much as I love golf, I do not practice. I like to play and compete. I'll hit 10 balls before I tee off and go play. But I'm not a range guy. I don't putt at home. I don't do any of that stuff. All right, Scott, let's talk about practice. Had about 4 or 5 practices. Obviously, the news came out over the weekend. Montreal Johnson got his knee cleaned up a little bit. I don't think it's that big a deal. What can you tell us?
Well, I think at this point the team don't think it's a huge deal. I mean, they list it as week to week. It's going to take him a little time to kind of recover, but I think he'll be fine in the long run. But I've seen these play out where a guy gets back faster than you even expect, and sometimes it drags on. So it's not a season ender, a torn ACL, or anything like that. So that's the good news. It just kind of, casts the picture of how quick things change. You look at the Gators' offense the first 2 years under Billy Napier, and one thing you always knew you had was a couple of really good running backs, and Montreal Johnson Jr. and Trevor Etienne, and now we know Etienne's at Georgia. Now Johnson's banged up, so you're going to hear some names like Jaden Ball and Trayon Webb and Katie Daniels. Some new guys will get an opportunity, at least for a lot of camps. So we'll see how Montreal is by the season opener, and hopefully he'll be ready to
go. Frank sent a text here, said regarding the running back position, don't sleep on Jacoby Jackson. I know he had some moments in spring games. You think there's any possibility he gets any playing time?
I mean, he would be a long shot in my eyes at this point. He'll be on special teams, I think. And, you look at what he did in junior college. I mean, the guy had some successful days on the football field. I just think, we saw what Jaden Ball can do in the orange and blue game. To me, he was kind of the guy who stood out more than anybody in my eyes that day. And I know they liked Katie Daniels and, of course, Trayon Webb. So, but it's a competitive camp. Billy Napier's talked about it. It's the most competitive camp that he's had in his 3 seasons there. So I think the door is open for all those guys, including Jacoby Jackson. I'm just going based on what I've seen so far. It seems like he would be a long shot, but hey, I've been wrong before, Shane, so maybe he'll make me wrong.
Cam Carroll, he had that devastating knee injury last year. Is he back full go, or is he still? What is his status?
Yeah, he's still got some issues, from what I understand. I don't know what his long-term prognosis is. As of now, I don't really factor him much into the picture. Unfortunate, because he's a guy that came in last year from Tulane and was hoping to finish his career and have a big year, and he got hurt, and that's the downside of the game. We've seen it happens every season. Every team has situations like this, but I don't see Cam Carroll in the picture right now, Shane.
Yeah. So Conyer Ron says he's heard Montreal will be out 6 weeks. If it's a scope, unless they just want to hold him out, I think he'll be ready to go personally. Army Sniper's question for you, Scott, on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum. Scott, is there hope in Gainesville for Napier, or is it a wait and see vibe for this season?
Well, I think if you watch Billy Napier speak this camp, there's definitely hope in his eyes. I mean, you can tell he's more confident than he's ever been in what kind of a team he has. But we also all know the national narrative and really a lot of the fan base. I mean, when you go 11-14 in your first 2 seasons of Florida, it's hard to build excitement entering year 3. That's kind of the reality of where he faces. But at the same time, I think that they have a deeper roster than they've ever had before with him. They've got more experience. Shane, just looking at it's the old eye test. When I look out there on the field, the last couple of years, I'm like, man, there's not a lot of guys who look like Gators when they were really rolling. I see more of those guys this year. They need the experience, but you can tell that things are going in the right direction. It's just a matter of, can they get enough done in year 3 to keep it moving forward? And I think that's the big challenge, but he certainly is confident they have what he needs to do that.
Yeah, it's clearly their best team they've had there. They're deeper. and they got better players. I mean, that's going to make a big difference in my opinion. You mentioned JUCO. We signed a JUCO kid the other day, and that gummit, he was practicing for the Gators. I think the day he signed his paper, the day after, it's like the NFL. You know, they signed him off the waiver wire. Uh, I guess that's where we are today in college football. But I think the guy's last name is Brown, if I'm not mistaken. What's he
Yeah,
look like?
Tyrese
What's he
Brown,
look
I
like in
think.
person?
Well, it's funny because you mentioned that because I walked into the complex before practice one day, and literally I see a guy pop out in the locker room as I'm going out to the field, number 96, Brown. I'm thinking, man, who is that? And it obviously he just joined the team that day. so
You thought he was late for practice.
yeah, I'm like, who is this? I mean, I had no idea because I don't know. I'm not good with every guy's name on the roster and number, but I knew that they didn't have a 96 Brown. And anyway, yeah, that is where we are, Shane. He's obviously a big guy. I mean, he looks like he belongs. He's a big, lean guy. Look like a good athlete, but we'll see. We'll see what he does. But yeah, that is just reality of where the game is. You could be surprised some days when you walk out to practice, the guy will be there who wasn't there yesterday.
Yeah, it's great. I thought you were going to say you pulled up to the complex. A dude got out of a taxi with his suitcase, walked in there and changed to his uniform like they do in the NFL, pick you up at the airport.
Yeah.
Scott, John's question
Yeah.
for you on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. Scott, when you were out there at practice, what position or player stands out to you that we may not know about?
I've been watching the defense, just my time out there. I think that's where the improvement has to come the most. And I like the linebackers. I see George Gums and Pup Howard. You could tell they bring a physical approach that they're lacking there. They've needed. And I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me, Shane, I just mentioned, it's just you're getting guys that look like, they don't necessarily look like Brandon Spikes or Percy Harvin or Javon Curse yet, but you're getting guys, you look like these guys are, once they develop, mature physically, like, LJ McCray. And I mean, you could tell he's a big time athlete. Aaron Childs, Miles Graham Jr. I mean, those guys look like you could tell they were elite recruits just from their body type and the way they carry themselves athletically. And that's when things are going in the right direction. And you've been around the game, so you know how it works. You just see certain guys and you're like, oh, that guy's a little different than everybody else out here. And you have to have those guys.
Yeah, I've yet to go to a practice. I was going to go today, but that ain't going to happen. And I just remember, I think it was 2 years. I think it was Napier's first year. I was at practice one day with two guys that played a long time in the NFL with me. But they were interior lineman guys, O-line, D-line guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both sitting there and we're just like, this does not look right. It does not look like an SEC D-line or O-line. Okay, this was 2 years ago. Well, I think it was going to be different this year. We still got to go out and perform, but it's you have to have those type of Jimmies and Joes to get it done for sure. Scott, let's switch over. I mean, everybody wants to talk about offense all the time. I'm still convinced. Before we do that, what is Ron Roberts like when you've been at practices? How much involved is he?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's heavily involved. He's. I mean, I don't know the title. I don't know how it's going to break down. I mean, obviously, he's working hand in hand with Austin Armstrong on the defense. I mean, he's got the executive head coach title. Obviously, Austin Armstrong is the defensive coordinator, but they're going to be both heavily involved in, I think, running the defense. And that's why he was brought here. I mean, Billy's talked about this as a veteran guy he taught Austin Armstrong most of what he knows about the defense. So you'd be silly not to rely on his knowledge and stuff. And so, yeah, he's definitely going to be part of the top of the chain at the defensive side of the ball.
All right, on the offensive side of the ball, skill guys, the wide receivers. Everybody talks about how deep this group is. I think it is. A lot of guys are going to have to bust their tails to get playing time because you got two transfers that are going to be in the mix for sure. But any reports of like Mizell, Andy Jean, those type of kids that were highly recruited that we haven't seen a whole lot of, how have they looked so far?
Well, I mean, I think they're coming along. I know Gene had a nice catch at practice. Was it yesterday or Saturday that they put out on video last night? Graham Mertz ran down to congratulate him. I think he's improved. I still think, obviously Eugene Wilson is the playmaker there, but they're going to need guys down the field to make things happen, and that's where Mizell comes in with his speed. I still think that's just an area that, Elijah Badger, he looks like a very good athlete. I haven't seen him enough to know what he does well, but they need these guys to step up. That's one of those areas that when Napier talks about competition in camp, I think he's talking about that. That's one group he's talking about because there's a lot of playing time there available if guys can step up and grab it, and they're going to need it. Although they're pretty well balanced offenses, we know under Napier. They've got to have, I think, better production at that position down the field.
Live a healthier lifestyle with their bold flavor smoothies and their amazing food. Tropical smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. A few more minutes with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. All right, one more question in football. All right. Have you seen any packages that they put together for TJ Lagway? That's what everybody wants to talk about. I know it's only 4 or 5 practices, but does he look different than he did in the spring?
He looks good from what I've seen. I mean, I think fans sometimes they think you see more than you do at practice. A lot of times at this stage, you're just still working on basics. DJ, to me, the thing that's impressed me from day one is just his physical stature for such a young player. Can I say, man, he's throwing the balls better, zipping around better. I mean, I thought he was throwing it pretty well when he got here. I just think it's from him. It's just a matter of learning the offense more and getting the opportunity. I think the physical tools are there, obviously. I think with him, it's all about just developing the mental aspect, the leadership, and just learning the game. And he's in such a great position with getting a chance behind Graham Mertz. But I do expect him to get some time, to give the offense a different look. But, I don't know if they're running specific packages or anything yet in camp for him.
All right, let's switch gears to the Olympics. Obviously, the Gators have had some good representation over there, and it will get better here as track and field moves along. But boy, that was some crazy stuff with Bobby Fink yesterday, breaking a world record, and then the reaction from Anthony Nesty. You've been watching the Olympics a lot, Scott?
Highlights. I've been busy on some other stuff, so I haven't watched as much as I have in past years. But obviously, I know what Fink did yesterday. That was huge, and I remember 6 months ago going over to Hawkins Center and sitting with him when he was earning his degree, and here he is 6 months later. He's having a better summer than I am, Shane.
Yeah, and then track and field is cranking up now. So Grant Holloway, we think he will win a gold as well. Is Parker going to run? What event is she running in?
That's a good question. I mean, I thought it was the 10,000. Maybe I'm wrong. And I don't know. Obviously, she's not going to be, I don't think, a favorite at the Olympic level. But she should be, she should have her name on the top 8, I would hope so. But, yeah, I don't know as far as the distance stuff and track. I'm not that plugged into it. I do Grant Holloway. I'd be surprised if he doesn't win the hurdles gold. Obviously, you've had Caleb Dressel having an up-and-down Olympics. Katie Ledecky's been amazing as always. Bobby Fink, you mentioned. And, of course, some of these other athletes from other countries just getting an opportunity. But the Olympics, the Gators certainly are well positioned to be in the spotlight at the Olympics. Anytime you have Anthony Nesty over there as head coach and a lot of gold medal contenders.
Yeah, Parker, they say here, Andy says she's going to be running the 10K.
10K, yeah.
John says, does Florida claim Ledecky? Didn't she swim at Stanford? Yeah, she's a Stanford girl, but she trains with the Gators. So I think we claim her.
Yeah, they're not claiming what she's winning. She's obviously been wearing her Gator cap, and she's been here for 3 years training, and she's even mentioned how important it's been to train with, Drexel and Bink and these other guys. So it's a cool little connection to have.
Yeah, she's probably going to try to swim in the next Olympics out in LA, but she's one of those, and I don't even know her, but I can just see her becoming like an assistant coach at Florida down the road. I don't know why I think that, but I just see that happening.
Yeah, I could see it. She loves the sport. I don't know enough about the sport in a technical side, what makes her so good, but whatever it is, she has it.
Yeah, she's very good. All right, Scott, on the Titan and More text line from Larry, he says, Scott, who do you think the starting linebackers will be the opening game against Miami?
Oh, I would think, I think the two veterans who have been here will start with Shamar and Wingo, and then I would think Pup Howard probably on the other side. I mean, that would just be my guess. I mean, I would be surprised, obviously, if James and Wingo aren't starting. So, and I think Wingo, he's a guy that he's going to be challenged maybe long term to get as much reps as he was last year if these other two guys are coming on. But Shamar is clearly the leader of the defense in the middle, and and he looks a lot better than he did last year. He's fully recovered. So that's kind of where I see that position.
Yeah, I think they've added some really good players via high school kids and in the portal at the linebacker position that we needed badly. Scott, you got any good stuff you're working on that people can go to floridagators.com to read?
Yeah, my main thing I've got going is just a profile on Tyler Miles. He's become the kind of the star of the off season, the street coach, and so I'm reaching out to some people who really know him. He's an interesting guy. Grew up as been documented on a farm out in Kansas, but some of the things that he's done over his career, his life, to kind of develop this work ethic that you need when you're leading these guys and trying to motivate them to do, let's face it, some hard work over the summer while everybody else is at the beach. They're in the weight room putting on this weight and getting ready for the season. So it takes a different kind of motivator to do that. And I think Tyler Miles fits the bill. So I'm just trying to kind of put that into context.
Well, we appreciate you joining the program today. Stay dry, put some sandbags around the house today, and we'll see you soon, my friend. Thanks, Scott.
All right, Shane, take care, buddy.
That's Scott Carter, FloridaGators.com senior writer. Join us on the Titan and More hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. CertaPro Painters of Gainesville, the area's leader in painting excellence and proud partner of the Florida Gators, offering professional painting service for homes and businesses, plus cabinet refinishing and carpentry repairs. Visit CertaPro.com for a free estimate. Appreciate everybody tuning in today. Hope everybody in the way of this storm is safe and sound. Same place, same time tomorrow, folks. Take care.